pass to yourself. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that. And thanks, Claire, for following you. And I was just about to type in the chat that there was a digital strategy for Scotland, and we encourage learners to have a say and say exactly that point, that broadband is not equity of connectivity. Anywho, greetings. My name's Emma Whitlock. I'm the CEO of Lead Scotland. Thanks for the opportunity to be part of this. If you've not heard of Lead before, we're a third sector organisation. We support disabled people and carers through the delivery of one-to-one and group adult learning services. We also provide befriending services. We run Scotland's national helpline for disabled students, and we seek to positively influence change through our policy work. I'm going to share some of our experiences, why we think integrating digital is important for adult learning, some examples, why it's good now and in the future, and the impacts. So I'm going a bit old school with a wee Padlet, bit of an aid memoir for me, but feel free to have a look at it as well. There's only a couple of links on there too. So I'm going to start, get my bias right out there. At Lead Scotland, we're digitally curious, we're passionate about technology. Makes a difference, unless of course it's not working. We're only human. And I would recommend going through the CLD digital awards that you'll hear about later. We've just finished that process, and it was really useful for benchmarking what we do. So on the Padlet, the first thing I'd put up there was, I think supporting people to learn digital skills and cybersecurity is a new duty of care. I put a wee question mark for it. It's up for discussion. I think it's true. I think digital skills are essential skills. I think safe cybersecurity behaviours are essential behaviours. There are loads of new online barriers to navigate as well. As adult learning practitioners, we support many people at the start of their learning journey, and whatever the person wants to learn, this usually means a parallel digital learning journey too. I think the adult learning sector is really good at engaging adults. That's what we do. That's our bread and butter. We're building trusted relationships through which people can gain knowledge, skills, confidence. And behind every laptop and device is a person. So let's not forget, digital is all about people. It's about relationships. We're just using tech as well. People trust that we will support them to realise the potential of technology safely. So that human thing, we're talking about technology, but people, it's so important that people are in here as well. So one of the good things I think about technology is that I think it really widens access to learning. I think it can help us be more inclusive. We've been using technology since the 1980s, and we've seen the benefits firsthand, and it's probably slightly controversial. There are financial barriers. I totally get it. Happy to engage with that too. And it's also becoming more affordable. The range of technology solutions which allow access to education and services is astonishing. I remember supporting 2 adult learners in 1999, one who was paralysed from the neck down and another one who had MS, who lived in a long-term hospital ward. Both were learning how to use voice dictation as the way to use a standard laptop. It cost thousands of pounds, and they had to be incredibly patient because it was very difficult to learn at that time. Because it was niche, it was specialist. The only people who needed that were people who were disabled or rich executives who didn't want audio typists. Now it's integrated for free in all devices. So that's just one example, and there's many examples where people, there are still challenges and barriers, but we have to use the opportunity that they're more widely available now, technology. It's more inclusive. We can reach people in a more inclusive way. The kit itself is more inclusive. People can personalise it, but also we can deliver flexible learning opportunities. So we're doing that. We've had loads of surveys run through the pandemic. The demand is shifting. We used to deliver pretty much all in-person services, and people are now telling us most want hybrid. Only a few want face-to-face only, and a few want online. So the demand's changing, and we're trying to keep pace with that. It's also helped us broaden our audience. We continue to engage local learners one-to-one in small groups in 9 local authority areas. But this kind of digital revolution, has also seen us reaching a new audience of more independent learners, including practitioners who are looking for learning opportunities to dip into as well. So, for example, we've been running a programme of short course digital accessibility sessions, an hour standalone long sessions on Zoom, or people can attend a whole programme of up to 10 sessions. And we notice that the learners coming forward for this, their motivations are different to those who use our frontline services. It's people who want to upskill to stay in work, to improve the inclusiveness of their business, attract disabled talent into their workforce, etc. Just some examples. So we're a specialist organisation, and what we're doing is being able to reach a broader audience across 32 local authorities, and some of those people will be more inclusive in their practice. So we've broadened our audience, as all of you can as well, and that's important. There's new learning pathways, new opportunities there. We used to talk about MOOCs, massive open online courses that are there, and how it was really people who were educated who were taking up that opportunities. We've got a Thinking Digitally course. It's a mini MOOC. That's a way of widening access. But I've got an example to tell you of something you may be aware of, but we had a group of disabled people who co-wrote a course for disabled people in it's called Everyday Computer Skills, and we worked in partnership with the Open Uni, and it's now hosted on their website. And the quote I've put from one of the learners in the group says, "I'm delighted to have contributed towards the OU course content. I'm now looking forward to doing the course." So there's people writing a course they then want to do. That's how you meet demand. And people were also saying, so this course is now out there for anybody in the world to actually, and I wrote that. Feel good about that. That is pure magic. Anyway, I'm getting a bit excited myself. So again, in terms of that delivery, you've got a course online, but you can deliver it flexibly. You can have somebody sitting right there with the person. You could have a carer there. You could have a volunteer there from Lead. You could have a staff member. You could do it by group. You could do it online, one-to-one, small groups, or people can study themselves. Flexibility by default. I've also put another thing about widening access, because obviously that's our bag. I think it sort of increases the likelihood of fairer access. Sometimes people will put on courses and then they'll have special arrangements for disabled people. And actually the potential here is to get rid of the special arrangements. And actually we can all expect people to learn in different ways. And I know you all do anyway. And people can produce evidence of learning in different ways too. And that's the default. And that improves equality. The geographical location also can, connectivity aside, can become less of an issue when learning in digital spaces, and that improves equity and availability of opportunities across Scotland. Another wee link I've shared on Padlet is called Alternative Formats. Paper materials have got limited accessibility. Yes, you can make them large font, good colour, but electronic learning resources are just more accessible. They can be magnified, read out, coloured, shared. You can create engaging ones, videos, use BSL clips. So I've put a wee Padlet link to some learning resources we've created in a range of formats. There are just more opportunities to welcome people and say we're all inclusive from the start, we can do this, and learning and teaching materials that are electronic are more easily manipulated by the learner to personalise them. And I'm just conscious of time, so I'll just skip a wee bit of there, and I'll go to, I've got a Padlet quote, which I thought kind of nicely summed up a learner, because one of the challenges is that sometimes we're sort of trying to inspire people that digital's good when they're not sure, not convinced, and there's barriers. And one of the learners who she wrote to me at the start of the pandemic, she was used to in-person services and she was really worried about what this was going to be. And we matched her with people in one-to-one, and eventually we got her online. And so after she'd had an experience being online, she had a wee quote there, which I put in the Padlet. She said she'd reflected on being engaged by Zoom, and she said they kept up with me by phone, email, and even Zoom, which they got me to be able to do. And I thought that was quite good. But actually then I got an email from her very recently. So I thought, so in 2022, what happened next? From this woman who sort of phoned me in a panic and said, how are we going to cope with this pandemic, to then doing a bit of Zoom. She then moved from one-to-one to groups to doing presentations. She then she did some qualifications online. She moved into her own tenancy. She's now a trustee, and she's emailed me to say, I'm actually too busy to talk to you because I'm doing this, this and this. I'm working on the national care standards with the Scottish Government, and it's got a lot of meetings. So, and I just thought, you know, people, and my sort of last bit there, you'll know as well as me, we don't know what we don't know. ourselves, the learners, and it's hard to realise the benefits of technology until we get started and until we feel confident as practitioners, because we're the gatekeepers of people actually getting on board as well. But the benefits are there. And I think we've got an important role to support people to safely connect. Looking ahead for us, we're working with JP Morgan. Very exciting. We got pro bono support for 6 months with them to build an accessible platform to host some of our courses. So watch that space, and we'll continue to support people to help us to write those courses, and how great we can get people to actually come on board as tutors as well. But can we pay people? Yep, that's where we're looking to head. So the integration of digital within adult learning, you'll have guessed I'm a fan. And I'd love to see more adult learners shaping the solutions, the new courses, the platforms, and getting involved. So I'll shut up now. Happy to take any questions. I hope there was some coherence coming through that.
Thanks very much, Emma. I think if you look at the chat, you'll see the inspiration you've kind of given a lot of people there. But for me, those kind of key messages, that sort of co-design element and having adult learners involved, and again, the journey that they can put on from just, again, having the opportunity to just learn the basics of digital, but then suddenly contributing and being involved. I think it shows the real opportunities in which digital can actually enhance not just us as practitioners and how we deliver, but the sort of life chances that adults have in regards to their journeys as well. Is there any question or one or two questions for Emma at all? You really sold the message well, to be honest, Emma. It was fantastic.